All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Not Funny Guys Presents Go Team Venture. And we have finally made it to season 6. Even though we jumped ahead, I think I've noted it down, about a year. So here we are with season 6. We've jumped ahead a year. Episode 1, Hostile Makeover, aired January 31st, 2016. Written by co-creator Jackson Public. Now, the Ventures have moved now to the penthouse of venture industry headquarters, Ventec Tower. This is interesting because if we remember what happened at the end of Gargantua 2, the Venture compound is burned down, and so we open with a scene where Rusty gets the will and finds out that he's inherited basically all of JJ's stuff. So Brock is also now been reassigned to them because he's now moved up, which means Hatred's kind of in a limbo spot. I think he's going to end up quitting and joining as security guard, pretty sure. They are initially accosted by the Crusader Action League, the CAL, who is an Avengers knockoff, obviously, who Rusty refuses to hire for protection. The Monarch and 21 go to the tower, disguised at one point, and then come back later where they end up infiltrating. They run into the drugged out pirate captain who's gotten back on the juice. He's been re-addicted to tranquilizers again. While looking for this attractive woman across the way, Hank notices one face down in her pool. He uses Brock's grappling hook gun to zip line over to the building, only to reveal that she has gills. And this, we'll find out later, is the White Whale's daughter. Hank falls off the line when he waves at her, but is caught by a member of the Crusader Action League, who then mistake Brock and Helper for villains and fight them, with the guild falling apart. Meantime, after the Sovereign's death, Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch meets. They try to hold a town hall. That goes well. Then they end up having a high-ranking. They go to New York to recruit the assistance of a high-ranking member from the New York sect branch, White Whale, who lives across the street from Rusty in Ventec Tower. He agrees to help with financial export in exchange for a seat on the council and exclusive arching rights to Rusty. That's right. He's now Rusty Venture's arch. So that's fun. So here we are. Some interesting, fun insights. Of course, we've inherited JJ's wealth. There's a sort of a hostile takeover of the company exchange where Rusty fires a bunch of people. Hank is now dressing like Justin Bieber. And this is initially something I noticed, and then it was confirmed later in the episode, of course, by Brock. JJ's voice is now like the voice of Siri on the phone. And so it's kind of like a creepy too soon thing. The Monarch's place is still getting fixed up. It's in the middle of a process. Of course, the Avengers knockoff Crusader Action League show up like they're trying to be like ADT and offer you a security package, which is hilarious. Then now Meteor Major, they're meeting the Council of 13. There's actually only 7 of them. So now they have to realize they need to get things in line. And so they go about holding a town hall where at one point Phantom Limb tries to pretend to be the Sovereign. Does not go well. There's a revolt in the organization, so they've got to really find out how to do things. Meanwhile, Dean has gone to what's supposed to be a college tour. He runs into our friend the Brown Widow from back in Bright Lights, Dean City, who is voiced by Nathan Fillion. So good note there. He even has a whole debate where he's not a student, he's actually a teacher, throws a can at his head, and he's like, should I reveal my identity? Real weird Peter Parker, Spider-Man stuff. It's absolutely hilarious. Venture is quote-unquote bogged down in work, which is basically charity money giving away. At one point, Monarch and 21 show up to stake the place. They're dressed in disguise. The Monarch is dressed as a Statue of Liberty, I believe. Yeah, Statue of Liberty, and I don't know what exactly 21 is supposed to be. But their cover gets blown, and he ends up making the first attempt to dart the captain, getting him hooked on tranquilizers again. So the Guild Town Hall, like we said, kind of goes badly. Hank discovers online shopping at one point during this whole thing and has bought a whole bunch of stuff. Brock even then goes through, at one point, I forgot to mention this. I don't want to forget this. So Hatred is being reassigned by OSI. Rusty Venture now has top rank again, so this is why Brock has come back. Captain's back on the juice, and Brock and Rusty go to a Sicilian tailor's place, where 20 years earlier, he had commissioned this man to make him in his bespoke speed suit, the ambassador, and now he's come back to make amends, pay him, and get the suit. Obviously ridiculous. Dr. the Mrs. the Monarch, of course, is reaching out to the New York chapter. She goes to see Wide Whale. It's very much like a Don Corleone Godfather vibe going on with him, and even the voice. Meanwhile, Monarch and 21, you dressed as security, break into the building, get locked in the elevator with the junkie captain. And they continue to shoot darts into him to try and help him get the monkey off his back. Hank goes, of course, about to try and save that girl. We will later find out this is Wide Whale's daughter. Brock gets into a whole fight on this roof with the Crusader Action League. We even meet, we've already met some of the members of the Crusader Action League who we meet up front. We are meeting, of course, we're going to be meeting Wariana. That is Kate McKinnon voicing that one. Stars and Garters. What was it? Trying to remember all their names here. So Stars and Garters. What's the name of that one guy? Okay, so Stars and Garters, the Dark Archer. Yeah, Fallen Archer. Sorry, Fallen Archer. I was trying to find his name there. Wariana, and then Night Dick. Who saves Hank as he's falling? Dr. Richard Knight. Detective Richard Knight. Night Dick. Laughs at the name. And we also learned for the first time that the guild apparently has, I'm not sure this is the first time, but we really learn the guild has levels, and the Monarch is only a 6, while the Wide Whale is a 10. So there's it. And of course, Wariana has this rope very much like Wonder Woman's, and when she has Brock tied up, he is really kind of into her. And of course, at the end, we find out that Wide Whale is now exclusively arching Dr. Venture. So that brings us to the end of that episode. We'll now be moving on to our next one. Before we do, remember to like, subscribe, share, and now we'll move on to episode 2. All right, folks, we're moving right along here. We're on episode 2 of season 6, Maybe No Go. This originally aired on February 7th, 2016, written by Doc Hammer. So this story, we get a little bit of a catch-up on Billy and Pete. We come to find out that Billy has one of his collectibles, the ball from Duran Duran's Is There Something I Should Know music video, stolen by St. Cloud. Knowing the importance it holds to pop culture, he threatens to send it back in time unless Pete and Billy sell their company to him, which they end up doing. The Monarch discovers that several villains are now in line ahead of him to arch Rusty before he can get back there. So he and 21 track down one of the villains, Redusa, and threatened her, trying to get her to sign away her arching rights, and then they have to assault her. When they return to the house, people remodeling have discovered a secret door in the study that leads to a cave full of gadgets. We will find out more about this and its connection to the Monarch, of course. Desperate for tranquilizer, the captain has climbed into a nearby polar bear zoo exhibit enclosure for darts. They dart the bear. He wants some of that too. Having fired all of his Venture Industry employees, Rusty is forced to now get the captain's clean and sober again, so he can help him clean up the mess. Receiving a tip from Shorely, Brock learns that Wide Whale is coming on an arch. Brock works with Hatred to trick him into stealing a fake valuable mask, and then returns to find that his place has been filled with balloons and a polar bear. And then, of course, in the end credits, we find out that St. Cloud has now sold Billy and Pete's company, which they sold to him, to Venture Industries. So, getting into the fun of this episode. And it is a fun episode. So, of course, we get to see Billy and Pete and St. Cloud's. They get their own opening credits, like they've got their own TV show, which is absolutely hilarious. And then right in the middle of their showdown, they have to call pause on the arching. So that obviously cracks me up. I love how there are rules. So the Monarch is, of course, furious with his wife. He also finds out that he used to be a level 6, getting back to those levels again. He's now, without his cocoon and his hundreds of henchmen, he is probably maybe a 3 or 4. So he gets 21 to find out who's ahead of him while he goes off and seduces his wife. Rather, she seduces him, and he gets 21 to find out some things using her computer. Because he wants to go after those people so he can get back to Arching Venture eventually. So he tries to be peaceful about it. Now, of course, the captain ends up in, like we said, in the polar bear enclosure. When he gets out, he has to go into detox. Billy and Pete eventually go to St. Cloud to pick things up again, whatever their arching situation. Monarch and 21 go basically getting Archers to sign their rights away. And like I said, they encounter Redusa. They end up having to fight her, and they're pretty sure she'll tattletale on them. And so they figure out this whole plan's not going to work. They're going to need a different one. Like I said, the captain's being detoxed. The fallen archer has gone to Red Whale. He is unable to pay him his bribe, which is apparently because Venture's not paying him, so that's not playing a game. This is when eventually Shore Leave will call Brock, gives him an update that he's about to be experiencing Wide Whale's attack. He's left with basically hatred, and he sends all the family into the panic room. Well, they anticipate Wide Whale's attack, which does come in the fact that he literally drives a giant metal whale through the floor and attacks, finding out no one's there, and then they use a recorded history, a little video of like the valuable items to trick him into stealing something that's actually worthless. St. Cloud is taunting Billy with that Duran Duran prop, little rubber ball, some weird villain speech. The family, like I said, the panic room when Rusty's going on about the foundations of super science legacy, and Dean actually comes up with a solution for them. Pete and Billy, like I said, sell to St. Cloud. Wide Whale strikes the whole thing as a setup. While he's doing that, Brock and Hatred were over at his place, and we come to find out at the end this was all due to the fact that they tranquilized that polar bear from earlier and brought it over and left it in his room with a bunch of balloons. And of course, he's stolen a worthless mask by listening to Hatred's little audio dialogue. And finally, Milano, who is the guy helping fix up the Monarch's house, discovers the lair. And more about that will obviously be revealing itself as we go forward. But that brings us to the end of our first 2 episodes into season 6, and we're just rocking along here. Next time, we'll be looking at fake miracles, and then the Rhapsody in Blue. Pretty sure I'm saying that right. But in the meantime, check out our podcast, the Not Funny Guys Off the Reels podcast. We have that right now. Today, we should have our newest episode on Little Women going live. So if not, previously we covered the Coronetto trilogy of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. So if you're interested in those, and if you want to go back even further, you should check out the stuff we've done, the MCU, horror films, the Fast and the Furious franchise, Wes Anderson films. We've covered a bunch of stuff, and we will be covering more as we continue along. That comes out weekly. If you want to write to us, it's notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com. Until next time, have a good fun. Keep watching your Venture Brothers, and go Team Venture. Say Not Funny Guys again.
Not funny guys again.
No, can you say Not Funny Guys?